Hey, this is Stephen Platinum with another Ask Platinum. I took a bunch of questions because I consider this sort of rapid fire. In fact, that's what I'm probably going to call it. Ask Platinum number 9, rapid fire questions and answers. So let's get to them. Dear Stephen Platinum, should there be a new Four Horsemen in AEW? Cody Rhodes has recently implied that there's going to be a new Four Horsemen in AEW. No. Come up with some great stuff of your own. And I would save, if they have possession of the Four Horsemen brand for wrestling, I would use it for something much cooler than a wrestling stable. What does that mean exactly? I'm not sure, but that's what I would do. I would come up with my own stuff and then save that Four Horsemen brand that they're allowed to use, and I would come up with something even cooler for it. Cinematic matches. What are your thoughts? Are they really the wave of the future? Short answer, no. I think we're seeing the problem with cinematic matches, and if you don't have enough pathos and true meaning and authority behind them, they don't matter because they're not creative enough to make a cinematic match without somebody with a great deal of gravitas matter. It has never been proven. Boneyard match worked because it's an Undertaker match. And AJ Styles did a really great job within the context of that match. You can argue the Firefly Funhouse worked, but that's because it was basically the dissection and a goodbye to John Cena. But none of the others have worked because they're not creative and good enough at making movies. They're not creative and good enough to make a good TV show right now. So until you can really take advantage of the format, right? And some would argue that, like, well, you know, the Hardys have done cinematic matches, yeah, and they went for it. The WWE doesn't know how to go for anything. And so, no, I would say no on cinematic matches unless you're either going to have a high level of creativity or enough gravitas to make the thing matter. Biggest problem with major wrestling groups summed up in one word. Woof, what an interesting question. WWE Disdain. And I'll give a brief description of why. The WWE has a disdain for its audience and the performers, and it is coming out. AEW, crossover. They're thinking too much wrestling people and not enough how can we become a thing and really take a piece of the WWE's pie as far as in with the general public. Though I don't know how big of a piece of pie that is anymore. They may have to make their own. Impact, awareness. They can do all the great stuff they want, but if it's just traded amongst a bunch of wrestling people who don't even know if they get the television station that they're on, I just don't see, no matter how good the product is, how they're ever going to make it sustainable. Hi, how are you? Sorry. Of course, I've been on hold forever and a day, and I had the thing on hold on the side, and of course it came through right when I was doing stuff. So for, let's see, impact awareness. Ring of Honor, one word, vision. What's the goal of the company, and why should I care? NWA, it's viability. I don't think there's anybody who believes that they're not in a great deal of trouble, and no matter how many times somebody may say, yeah, we're running shows, we're going to keep running shows, people are just not sure that that is the case, because it certainly doesn't appear to be the case. All right, and our last question. Seth Rollins said we're in a golden age of wrestling. Do you agree? No, I don't think any rational person agrees, and I think no rational person at this point believes almost anything that Seth Rollins says, because he's a WWE homer, and he's very outspoken about things that seem designed to. Seth Rollins is one of these guys who I think, and I'm just gonna, well, I'll speak for myself. I get the impression that he's so busy trying to keep his job that he's not really doing his job. Yeah. So no, we're not in the golden age of pro wrestling. Now, I've said, this is before COVID, that, this is a great time in wrestling, and I think there's no doubt about that, but it's not a golden age. Just like AEW can claim that they have the best tag roster in history or in the last 20 years or whatever nonsense they said, two things can be true. You can have something that's great without it having to be the best ever. Anyway, this has been Ask Platinum Rapid Fire. And I'm Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.